I still remember the sound of the dirt hitting the tiny coffin. Hollow. Final. A sound no parent should ever have to memorize. I stood alone. No hands to steady me, no voices to remind me to breathe. Just the wind, the pastor, and the weight in my arms that had already gone cold in every way it could. My phone buzzed mid-eulogy. Mom, sorry honey, but it's just a baby. Your brother's party matters more than a funeral. Don't be dramatic. The grief didn't choke me. Not then. Not after that. Crystallized. And something inside me, something fragile, snapped so quietly I almost missed it. There was a time I believed my parents were incapable of cruelty. A time when my mother braided my hair before school and my father clapped too loudly at every achievement. I believed in them the way children believe in gravity. Unquestioningly. But my brother, Evan, he was always the sun around which they orbited. Golden boy from birth. Every scraped knee of his was a national crisis. Every accomplishment of mine was nice, sweetie. I chalked it up to favoritism. Annoying but survivable. Then my baby died. And favoritism became contempt. It wasn't sudden. Their indifference built slowly, brick by brick. 3 weeks before the funeral, Mom said, "Maybe you shouldn't have gone back to work so soon after giving birth. Babies need connection." 2 weeks before, "Maybe if you'd breastfed longer." The morning my daughter's heart stopped beating in her sleep, they didn't even rush over. Dad simply sighed into the phone and said, "We'll check on you later. Today's not great for us." But the text about the pool party, that was the moment the fog lifted. Their truth stood bare. My child hadn't been born into my family. Only I had. I didn't scream at them, didn't beg, didn't attempt to justify my grief to people who clearly weren't capable of feeling it with me. Instead, I sat in my living room after the funeral, staring at the empty crib, and felt an eerie calm take hold. I realized something with terrifying clarity. If they could discard me this easily, I could learn to discard them too. But not loudly, not dramatically, not in a way they could twist into another rumor about my oversensitive nature. No, my revenge would be clean. It would be slow, and it would be undeniable. First move, finances. They depended on me more than they ever admitted. Dad had used my credit years ago when he was between jobs. Mom was on my phone plan. I'd co-signed a loan for my brother's car so he could start fresh. I closed every account. I revoked every authorization. I transferred my number and removed them from the plan. I froze my credit. Silently, coldly. Second move, information. My mother's favorite pastime was gossiping about me to concerned relatives. So I stopped providing material. No updates. No explanations. No conversations. Third move, the house. They'd pressured me into letting Evan list his failing pool cleaning business address under my home to look more professional. I filed a formal revocation notice and notified every association he worked with. Professional suicide delivered with a polite signature. Fourth move, the will. My daughter's belongings, memorial pieces, and remaining accounts. I redirected all assets toward donations for families who actually cared. I sent my parents a brief message afterward. "You won't be included in anything regarding my life from now on." Or hers. I knew it would sting them, not for emotional reasons but for image ones. The golden family portrait was cracking, and I was the one tapping the hammer. They showed up at my door 2 months later. Not out of remorse, not out of love, but because their utilities had been shut off, Evan's business had tanked, and relatives were asking why I'd cut off the whole family. Mom tried to storm inside, but I blocked the doorway. She lifted her chin like she had the moral high ground. "We need to talk. This silent treatment is childish." I let myself smile, small, sharp. "You skipped my daughter's funeral," I said. "You told me she didn't matter." Mom scoffed. "You're exaggerating." I pulled out my phone, opened the message, held it in front of her face. She paled. Dad looked at the ground. Evan stood behind them, arms crossed, confused. Like sympathy was a language he didn't speak. "You cost us everything," my mother hissed. "No," I said. "You did." Their mouths opened, too slow, Too late. You taught me that grief is inconvenient, I continued. You taught me that love is conditional. I finally listened. Then I closed the door on them softly, calmly. The sound was more satisfying than the dirt hitting the coffin. They tried calling after that, crying voicemails, angry ones, threatening ones, then apologetic ones. But I never responded. I learned something in those months, something sharp and necessary. Grief doesn't break everyone. Some of us harden. Some of us sharpen. Some of us rise. My daughter will never grow up. But I did. Without them. And I realized the final twist of all. They didn't just lose their grandchild that day. They lost me. And unlike them, I understand the permanence of loss. I buried more than a baby that morning. I buried the last piece of me that needed their love.